Do you have fun playing bad guys? I mean,
I have fun playing well-written parts.
Okay.
If they're well-written. So Lucius Malfoy, it may be a wizarding magical saga, but he's a white supremacist. That's what he is. He's an aging rich man with ludicrous blonde hair who thinks that people shouldn't have mixed blood.
Yeah.
We don't need to look too far for examples in the real world, do we?
No.
And so if I believe them and they're three-dimensional, then I can play them. Nobody thinks themselves a bad guy.
It's what? Coconut milk's off. Coconut milk's off. The coconut milk is off.
Okay, the coconut milk is off.
No. Don't drink it.
All good.
Okay. I'll see you. I'll see you in the morning.
Welcome to Behind the Lens. Today, mostly in front of the lens. What a career he's had. An incredible list of movies. I'm going to ask him about a lot of these. But currently nominated as Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series for his role as Timothy Ratliff in The White Lotus Season 3. So good. Oh my God, that looked like such a fun shoot in Thailand. This is Jason Isaacs. Welcome.
Hi, Pete. It's very strange when someone gives you a fabulous introduction like that, for which much thanks. I feel like it's over. Like it's some kind of living obituary. I'm still going. I feel like I just got started.
Yeah. Well, a great performance, by the way.
Much.
It's such a, I'm obsessed with The White Lotus. It's from...
Me too. Yeah, you and half the world. I mean,
from day one.
One of the great things about being in it is that you shoot your own little bit by yourself. And in fact, Timothy was so isolated, I barely connected with even my family.
Yeah, your co-star was a phone, it looked like.
Which means I get to watch it like everybody else, because I didn't see all the people I became friendly with or close to. I didn't see their performances, and I watched it like a fan.
Yeah, because you're often walking by yourself, like you could just see on your face, what have I done? What's happening here?
Even when I was with the other people, you're right, there's a bunch of phone acting going on, which is never that much fun. But it was an odd job as an actor, because acting is all about connection, human connection, and what do you want from the other person, and what are they giving to you. But Tim is so alone and terrified and isolated and living his own, it's not really his own nightmare, it's the nightmare of his family. They don't know it yet, that's all. He's fallen into the abyss. And so it was an odd experience as an actor, being in those scenes, living inside my head and deliberately not connecting. Also having to act that I was out of my head on various different drugs.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, that scene where you're making the thing and you're just going to kill the whole family, and I'm going like, oh my God, that Mike White, what an imagination. Doing this to this entire family and having you the perpetrator here.
It was hard. It sounds an odd thing to say, because acting, obviously, it's pretend, but it was as close to heartbreaking as I've got. To be suicidal, and then to think that, to try and get yourself in a mood, because the camera can tell when you're lying, so you have to trick your imagination as much as you can, to get yourself into a place where you think you need to kill all the people that you love, because they won't be able to take this fall from grace, It's a horrible place to be. It's odd, because as you rightly say, we were in these gorgeous places in Thailand. I was making lovely friends, but when the cameras were rolling and leading up to the scenes, I had to be in a really terrible, dark, lonely place. Yeah.
And you really see it. It's really the essence of acting, to see it in the eyes, see everything that you're going through, and you're not using any dialogue in so much.
No, Mike didn't give me many words to help. I was worried taking the job that this might be the most boring person that ever been in White Lotus, and that he would just cut away from me because I looked like everybody's stoned uncle at Christmas. But somehow I thought, if I have all of his thoughts, if I can think everything that Timothy is thinking, which, by the way, he's trying to dull his thinking. He's trying to, obliterate himself into a coma because he can't bear the thoughts, because this is a man who's only ever had solutions in his life.
Right.
And by the way, there weren't big problems because he had such money and privilege, and that now the only solution seems to be to end his life and everyone else's. I thought, if I just keep thinking it, I hope that the audience and Mike White's brilliant direction and editing will help them come on the journey with me, or else I'm going to be so boring.
Well, he also gave you, first of all, that fantastic scene with Sam Nivola where you're trying desperately to bring him back to life, after he accidentally
It's because he's cruel, Mike White. He's a cruel, evil person. So one thing, so he takes me to a place where I feel like I need to kill all the people I love because they also can't face the future. But the one person I'm going to exclude from that is Sam, because I think he's going to be able to cope. And then he went, I know what I'm going to do. Let's kill him.
Yeah,
and,
let's have him accidentally drink this.
But that's Mike's genius, I think. I remember they had a screening. Might have even been a deadline screening. I don't know. But there was a screening of the finale in Los Angeles. It's a creaky chair, this.
It is.
It's not my digestive system, just so you know. But anyway, they had a screening, and I flew over because I was working in England, and there were hundreds of people watching it. And there's the scene where Sarah Catherine, who I think played my daughter so beautifully.
Sarah Catherine Hook?
Yeah, Sarah Catherine Hook had waited 8 episodes for the one scene where she breaks down and goes, you know what? I am a princess. And I want Egyptian cotton, and I want organic food and stuff. And so I remember filming that scene and, again, being heartbroken as Tim, thinking, I'm going to have to kill her. She also can't face it. But the adult stated him at that point, that seems like the best thing to do. And I remember how heartbreaking it was. He's a very patriarchal alpha male, so his daughter's his kind of special jewel. And thinking, when we were filming it, just being heartbroken, the camera pans over to my face, and 800 people burst out laughing. And I thought, what the fuck is the matter with me? And then I realized, that's Mike White's genius. He makes the horrendous hilarious.
Yeah. No, he's got a unique talent here, and witnessed by the fact that this show has 23 nominations, has won.
Sure, they're all for him. The truth is, they're all for him. It's not that everybody in the craft department is not very talented, and then my fellow actors aren't. I can't speak for myself, but I think they're all fabulous. But the truth is, he gives us that material. He gives everybody three-dimensional human characters in unique, gripping stories, and then we all get the credit for it.
And it's year after year. This is season 3, but it's been the case every single year. They dominate the supporting categories because everybody goes as an ensemble. But this year it's no different. 7 of the actors, 4 women and 3 men.
I'll be honest with you, it feels weird that it's not everybody. I wish there was just one category.
Why don't they have an ensemble category like they do at SAG?
I don't know, Pete. Let's get a banner and start marching.
We want an ensemble category at the Emmys.
It does feel weird to be separated from Patrick Sam and Sarah Catherine, who played my children.
Oh, I know.
It was so beautiful. And Tim's whole journey rides on his distant, drugged-out, crazy wife and these children who are so desperate for his approval and stuff. And it's flattering and lovely, but I've been an actor for a very, very long time, and it's always the case when the script is brilliant, you get credit for as the second tier interpretive artist. You're interpreting someone else's work. When I read something and I think it's fantastic, I think if I don't drop the ball, people are going to think it's me creating something multi-layered and beautiful, and it's always the writer.
Speaking of acting, how did you get that nice little North Carolina accent?
Thank you for pointing out it's North Carolina. Thank you.
Listening to you here, it's clear you're not from the South.
You don't miss a trick, do you? Well, weirdly, actually, the North Carolina accent, the one I was doing, which is Durham, North Carolina, specifically Old Money from Durham, blue-blooded. A lot of those southern accents have traces of the Old English colonial accent in them. So there's a couple of vowels that are particularly English, which was a gift to me. So the diphthong, this is getting really technical here, sorry. The O sound, Parker became famous going, Piper, no. That O diphthong is a very British song. So British people say, I know, a glass of Coke. So it's the same vowel, and a couple of other vowel sounds. But also, we filmed in Patriot just over the border in South Carolina.
Oh, of course.
And I'm a sponge. I love accents. I take them wherever I go, and I listen to people, and I had a brilliant dialect coach. And I had stuff in my headphones. There was one particular guy I modeled it on, whose name I will never credit because he's awful. But he's a guy from Durham, North Carolina, who I had in my headphones every day. And
wow.
And I don't know how I got it. I do know that a lot of people went, you don't sound Southern at all. My friend's from Alabama. I'm like, I know, because I'm not from Alabama. But anyway, so people from Durham have been very nice about it. Yeah, people from Duke, not so much.
You and Parker Posey, she's also nominated. I loved her accent as well. I thought it was so...
Well, Parker did something magnificently hilarious and grotesque because she's playing Victoria, who's out of her head from the moment you meet her. And she's obviously a fabulous comedian, and so she went off. She doesn't have to be from Durham. She can be from anywhere. She is, in fact, Southern, Parker. But I had to be slightly less... I don't know. What she did was so fantastic. I had to work very hard. We all did, not to laugh on set.
Yeah, really? Yeah. Oh, God, that's always fun.
I was desperate for a gag, I have to say, but Tim probably had the most miserable time in the White Lotus than anyone's ever had.
Yeah. Now, you are, in fact, from Liverpool.
I am.
Where the Beatles came from. And I think you were born right around the time the Beatles were coming to...
I was a baby, but that was the soundtrack of my growing up. My dad had an 8-track in the car. I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember 8 tracks, but the Beatles were on, and yeah, one of the things that's weird about the Beatles. I've just been asked to read Paul McCartney's book as an audio book, and I'm absolutely thrilled about. But one of the weird things about the Beatles is when people do Liverpool accents around the world, they'll now do Stevie Graham, which is great because he's got a brilliant, he is from Liverpool. But the Beatles had these accents, which were young Liverpool kids trying to sound American. So like when I grew up talking like that, that's a Liverpool accent, something like that. I've listened to Steve Graham talk like that. Yeah. But the Beatles were trying to sound laid back, like they came from California, and they've got a whole different sound. So actors, if you're watching this, you want to do Stevie Graham, don't do John Lennon.
He's great, and he's also there. He is.
There he is on the cover.
A cover of our magazine.
Never has
Deadline.
Success been more deserved.
He's wonderful.
I
actually interviewed him in what we call Phase 1.
Right.
And I realized when I did it, oh my God, he's played so many things. And
he does. He was a great Al Capone.
Yeah.
In Boardwalk Empire.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a big
fan. Pirates of the Caribbean
Right.
and everything else he did. You, sir, have the same sort of career. It's really like amazing.
I'm old. You're saying I'm old, Pete.
Well, I've been
around.
It's one kind of fascinating movie after another. Let me run some of them by you, see what you say. Event Horizon.
Just had its anniversary. It came out yesterday, I think, I don't know, more than 25 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, something like that. It's interesting. I've been in a couple of films that were big flops at the box office and have subsequently become a kind of accepted masterpieces and have a huge following there. Event Horizon is one of them, has massive following. And I've seen many movies that echo its plot and theme, but never its brilliant design. And Paul Anderson has not had the credit for it, except in the Event Horizon community. The other one is Peter Pan. Peter Pan, which also came out and took about 27 cents and some bubblegum wrapper, and has subsequently become a kind of staple family classic and is a beautiful, brilliant film, I think.
You played Captain Hook.
I played Captain Hook and Mr. Darling,
Yeah.
which is the thing that I think has been misunderstood about all the different versions of Peter Pan that have been made is that it should be called Wendy. And what Jane Barry wrote was a story about a little girl who's told, your childhood is over. It's time to be a woman now. And she goes, a woman? I share a bedroom with my brothers. We play pirates. You go, no. And in those days, what that meant was get ready to be a mother, i.e. have sex and give birth. She's like, I'm 12. So she invents a world that night in which there's a kid who still has his baby teeth, but she is hitting puberty. And so there's a man who's very attractive to her, but also repulsive, because men are repulsive, but she's a little bit seduced by him, and he looks like the only man she's ever met, which is her father. So it's a very complicated Freudian story, and PJ made that story brilliantly, PJ Hogan. And it's why generations of women come up to me, young women. Even when I go to fan events, they come dressed in full Harry Potter costume, and they come up, they see a picture of Captain Hook, they go, actually, that's my favorite film. And I say, it's one of mine too. And they never quite know why, and it's because it speaks to young women. And I've got 2 daughters, about that time in your life when you have one foot in childhood. You sleep with the teddy bear, but you also want to wear a miniskirt.
So Peter Pan, when it came out, was a flop. That was depressing, I think.
It was awful for everybody concerned. It was a career destroyer. Thank God it made me do TV, because that's where I've really found much more, in many ways, more interesting stories, longer form stories. And at the time, doing TV felt like a step down, or it's regarded that way. But I did Brotherhood. I did some West Wings, and I did Brotherhood, which was the beginning of a whole new...
Yeah, you did do some West Wings.
I did. I loved it,
You also got into producing a lot of your stuff. Most recently, Archie, which I loved. Cary Grant, I'm obsessed with. I'm still watching all of his movies, There are many I still realize I haven't seen that one.
He banged out hundreds. When he was a studio player, he banged out a lot of films.
He was amazing, but you had that down.
Well, I didn't want to take the part.
Archie Leach is his real name.
Yeah, I didn't want to play Cary Grant. You'd be a moron to play Cary Grant. He was the world's most desired man for 30 years. But Archie Leach, when they said cut, was a very messed up individual. Very complicated. He went through a lot of marriages to a lot of young people, and was tortured by his early childhood and abandonment and abuse. And that I felt I could play and identify with, and people could watch and identify with.
You really?
Whoops.
You related
TMI,
to
sorry,
that was really good. It's on BritBox. by the way, which is you got to get and sign up for. But it's I get BritBox, so
good, thanks. And it was an interesting thing to play because so many people worship and still love him. Many people don't know who he is. But to delve behind the scenes, spend that much time with Diane Cannon, who told me some hair-curling, awful stories about what it was like to be married to him.
You talked to her?
Yeah, I spoke to her a lot, extensively. She was very, very candid, even in her 80s, about the more personal aspects of their life.
Wow.
And it was great to know those things, and felt odd to kind of to put this story out there. We kept some of the more extreme things off the screen for fear that it would just make people, I don't know, I mean, Jeff Pope, who wrote it, who's an Oscar-nominated writer himself, went, we'll just lose the audience. And I went, it's a human being. We could tell some of these awful stories because he was a complicated man who, it was ironic that he was so abandoned and so unloved when he was a child. He spent his entire life making hundreds of millions of people love him, and it never began to fill the abyss.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. You never know what's going on there. Well, that was just one. Good Sam, Case Histories, Awake, Good. These are all your foray.
It's great writing. The thing, Case Histories is adaptation of Kate Atkinson's book, who's a serious literary figure, and those books were brilliant. And when we adapted her books, they were huge hits on British TV. When we started writing our own versions of them, because we ran out of books, they were fine, but they weren't her stuff. I've never. It's just so obvious to everyone, and you know it too, that it's always the writer.
And you get to produce and have a lot to say in how you do it, and take charge.
I might take charge. It's nice to sit. Acting's a funny old job. It's a very childlike thing to do. If people visit a set who've never been before, they wonder why the actors are behaving like such morons. It's because we want to stay loose. We want to stay close, emotions close to the surface, so that you can cry or laugh, or like Tim, that I can get. I can be a loose enough conduit for his depression and fear. But it's not a very grown-up thing to do, to pretend like that. If you want to do it well, you have to stay childlike. So one of the reasons I like producing is I also get to sit at the grown-up table occasionally and have grown-up conversations.
And thank God, we need more of those. But, let me guess. The one character people stop you all the time has to be in Harry Potter, I would think.
Completely wrong. It's funny people would think that. I don't look like him.
You had so many films, so
billions of people have watched them. But I have I have long blonde hair, and I have an elf, which I rarely walk down the street with.
By the way.
I played Lucius Malfoy in those. No. One of the great things about being old and having stuck around for a long time is that when people walk up to me to take a selfie or be nice or have a chat in the street, I can play a game with myself and guess: is it because they were in the army? So I was in Black Hawk Down and Fury and Green Zone and stuff like that. Is it because they're like a history buff and so they're fans of The Patriot? Is it because they're Star Trek fans? I had my own Starship for a season, which I love, because I was a huge Star Trek fan as well. Is it brother? If they look like they're going to mug me, it's probably Brotherhood. More recently it's White Lotus, and that was everybody for a while. And thank God that's dying down, because I like to be anonymous, invisible, and go to the supermarket and get the subway like everyone else. And I like to observe. My job is to watch who people are and how people are, and then create something fresh and new on screens. But it's rarely Harry Potter. Parents drag their kids up to me because they recognize me from some adult thing or this channel, and they go, "Look who it is," and the kids look completely nonplussed. And then they insist I tell them, and I go, "Well, I played Lucius Malfoy in Harry Potter," and they look and they think, what the hell is he doing at the fish counter? And so, no, it can be anything. It can be anything. In England right now, there was a little film that came out recently. It was a big hit called The Salt Path. This really lovely film.
Yes, I've seen it.
Well, so that was one of the nice things about having a very, very boring, unmemorable face, is that I'm recognized for about a week when something's out, and then I pass by them anonymously all the time, which I love.
The Salt Path was a fascinating story. You're basically this homeless couple go out and follow what's the salt path.
Walk. They walk because they've got no other choice. The interesting contrast was it came out while White Lotus was out. White Lotus is about a very, very rich man who loses everything because that he can't take the fall in status. He just would rather not exist. And The Salt Path is about a man who loses everything and that embraces that humility and bonds with all the homeless people.
Yeah, I think I might have seen that was it at Toronto? It was
at Toronto,
Yeah, I know,
You're good at this. You should think about doing it professionally.
Okay, thank you. Tell them. Mass, we've talked about before, but that's one of my favorite Jason Isaacs performances. And the four of you, it's about two parents. It involves a school shooting. One a couple or parents of the shooter, the others of the victim.
It's true. However, for me, it's a film not about a shooting at all. It could be a car crash, it could be anything.
Right.
It's a film about the power of forgiveness.
what brings you together.
Yeah, people were put off watching, I think, because they thought it might be depressing. I think it's the most uplifting film and the most positive film I've ever been in, because what it reminds us all is if you carry hatred, it's yourself you're poisoning.
Yeah.
If you carry resentment, it's yourself, who will be damaged in the end. And that forgiveness is the most, I mean, I'm not a believer in anything up there, but I think it's the most spiritual thing you can do. And so it's a beautiful film, and it's very simple, like you say. It's 4 people sitting around a table talking, but it's, I think, maybe the most dramatic film I've ever been in.
I would not question that at all. And I watched that movie and thinking, oh, okay, well, this could be a play. This could be.
It is about to be a play in London.
Is it? Well, there you go.
I wish them good luck. I think it's a film because the close-ups show you what people aren't saying.
Yes.
The other thing people come up to me, talk to me about all the time, filmmakers particularly, is the OA. I think I'm more recognized by millennials for the Netflix series, the OA,
on Netflix,
than anything I've ever been in.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's tens of millions of people, but particularly millennials for whom it meant something. Yeah. They don't want to come up and say, "Oh, I liked you in." They want to come up and tell you what it means to them, or to give me a message to give to Britt Marling because it touched them and awoke things in them that. Because it's the point of stories. Yeah. The point of stories is not to fill in the time between now and the pearly gates, or to fill the gaps between commercials.
Yeah.
It's to entertain you and hold you, but to inspire you so that in your own life, you're brings people together. The White Lotus brought people together to talk, to have viewing parties, to have fun. But also in those other moments in life when we're trying to work out what to do, we're in a dilemma. It's fiction that has buried itself into our psyches, and it's those choices we've seen in narrative that kind of put the menu in front of us about how to react. Yeah. And I think the OA was really powerful spiritually as well.
I'll tell you another one. You were so sadistic in The Patriot.
Well, it depends on your perspective, really.
Yeah.
Depends where you stand on child murder.
Yeah.
And burning it. And church burning.
Well, Mel Gibson, obviously, and Heath Ledger.
Lovely Heath. Yeah.
Wow. And
he was only 21. He was already clearly something. Yeah.
But I think you caused quite a stir with that character.
Do you know what it was? I had a lovely time doing it, and there's an odd thing going on in America. People come up to me all the time. They go, "Oh, man, I loved you in The Patriot. My 5th grade history teacher showed me that." And I go, "And then told you it's all bullshit, right?" They go, "What are you talking about?" I go, "It's just so people know it's not a Ken Burns documentary." But one of the great things about that part is that Roland Emmerich, who's a magnificent filmmaker, and Mel, who was prepared to do this as a leading actor, gave the bad guy status and power. Yeah. And because Alan Rickman, who was so brilliant and stole Die Hard from Bruce Willis and stole Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves from Kevin Costner so badly, there was this kind of sense around don't let the bad guy come in and really undermine and upstage the heroes. And so the bad guys I was offered after The Patriot, for instance, were all morons and outfoxed by the heroes early on. But in The Patriot, I come on screen and I shoot children straight away. You get to do bad things. I kill Heath. Spoiler, I'm just 25 years ago. But, I kill the kind of sexy young romantic hero. You think that's unexpected. I burn the church, and I'm powerful. And I remember when we were choreographing the sword fight with Mel at the end, the stunt guys kept bringing back versions where Mel would just decimate me. And Mel, who was always trying to encourage me to direct because he'd done Braveheart recently, go, "Tell him, Jason." I go, "You should tell him. We'll see it." He go, "No, you tell him." I go, "I need to win the fight." They go, "What are you talking about? Mel died. You died." I go, "But the audience needs to think this guy is a better sword fighter." Now there's a lot of big Hollywood leading men that wouldn't play scared, or they wouldn't play worse, they wouldn't play low status. But Mel is a smart enough storyteller that he gave me status in the film. He played scared of me. And that, I think, kept the narrative engine going all the way through. You don't get that with many bad guys.
That's interesting, too. Do you have fun playing bad guys? I mean,
I have fun playing well-written parts. Okay. If they're well-written. So Lucius Malfoy, it may be a wizarding magical saga, but he's a white supremacist. That's what he is. He's an aging rich man with ludicrous blonde hair who thinks that people shouldn't have mixed blood. Yeah. We don't need to look too far for examples in the real world, do we? No. And so if I believe them and they're three-dimensional, then I can play them. Nobody thinks themselves a bad guy. The guy in The Patriot is trying to win the war. He's having quite a good time doing it, but he's trying to win the war because actually we put a bit of backstory in. It turns out that lots of those people who were fighting here were second sons, meaning they weren't going to inherit anything back home. Oh. So unless they won here and carved out some territory for themselves, they were facing a life of penury if they went home. And so it's not bad. I like playing well-written parts because then it makes you look better as an actor.
Speaking of that, did you have conversations with J.K. Rowling when you did Harry Potter about maybe this character should do this, do that, to the writer?
I don't think Joni... Well, actually, I only met her once for 2 minutes, and I was before number 6. She wasn't around the set at all. She gave, very smartly, she gave David Heyman, who was producing, and then the various different directors, absolute license to turn them into pieces of cinema. Because the books are very different. So, for instance, the resolution in Hitchcock, it's a Hitchcock, isn't it? You can tell me if I'm wrong. That said, the 3 most important parts of every movie are the ending, the ending, and the ending. So,
he's right.
The resolution of the 7th book was dozens of pages about the provenance of a wand, which isn't really great cinema.
No.
We had a big battle instead. So she gave us license. In fact, on the set, when those books were gospel and people, knew every single punctuation mark, we were given license to improvise and to come up with what we thought was better, because it's a very different medium.
That's great. Well, you've done, I could go on and on. It's like, and I did want to ask you, you mentioned Black Hawk Down, Ridley Scott, one of his most brilliant movies there.
He's something else. He reminded me, I remember one day watching him with a bank of monitors, and he was standing there with a cigar, and there were cameras in the helicopters and the cameras inside the battles and cameras in buildings, and he went, camera 3, move it up a foot, camera 7, open the shutter another 5 degrees, camera 8, change your lens to 45, and then in the break I went, Rid, is this? Because it looked like David Bowie in Man Who Fell to Earth. Remember when David Bowie has all the screens? Right. I said, is this challenging? And he said, I can do this shit in my sleep. And I think he really can. And when you asked him a question, he'd get a pad out and he'd draw an answer. Yeah. It wasn't about the dialogue. It was always about the pictures from him. And I kept some of those Ridley-grams, we call them.
Wow.
Yeah. There's only one. They broke the mold.
They did, and he's still going, and he's what, 87 or something like that. Amazing, You have fun acting, though, I can tell.
I have fun when it's great people. Yeah. And when it's not great people, it's not that much fun. It's a job. But I try and choose the talented people and bask in their reflection.
And especially when you get to go to Thailand and do all that. And I know you're a big tennis player.
I'm a huge tennis fan, and much more than
My
acting.
My father was a tennis pro.
Yeah.
But
doesn't work in movies. People should just stop making tennis movies. Doesn't work.
Well, yeah, players. Mm-hmm.
American sports work. So baseball and football, they're 5-second increments of action. You can choreograph them brilliantly.
Yeah.
Tennis never works.
No, you're right.
Thanks so much.
Not a lot of great tennis movies. I'll think of one. I don't know. It's The Spanish Prisoner.
Challenger's got the romance great. Tennis.
Yeah. Oh, Challengers. I like
the tennis.
Challengers.
I love the movie.
Yeah.
but the tennis, not so much.
Anyway, I love The White Lotus, too.
Thank
you can see it on HBO Max. See Jason Isaacs. And good luck at the Emmys. Have a good time.
I'll be glad when it's over, because competition between actors feels weird. It's lovely and flattering, but whoever wins, it'll be great by the time we go to a party.
Good. Good for you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.